modern Arleigh Burke-class destroyer is a powerful U.S. Navy warship manned by roughly 300 sailors trained to operate its advanced sensors and weapons at sea. On a typical 30-day mission, crew life revolves around the ship's tight routines and shared spaces, from eating 3 meals a day on the mess deck to taking quick freshwater showers and using compact heads designed for shipboard living. But it's not easy to live on a massive ship for 30 days, with limited water and restricted hygiene conditions. How do the crew members eat, shower, and use the bathroom? Life aboard the Arleigh Burke-class. Life aboard an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer is both demanding and tightly knit, shaped by the ship's missions and its compact, efficient design. These guided missile destroyers carry about 360 sailors and officers depending on the mission, flight, and configuration. Crew members include people of all ranks and genders, working side by side across departments that handle navigation, engineering, combat systems, operations, and daily life aboard the vessel. The destroyer is at sea for extended periods. While individual patrol legs vary, many sustained operations span several weeks to multiple months, and sailors can expect to stay at sea for 30 days or more. In those 30 days, they are cramped on a single ship with hundreds of other sailors, and have to figure out how to eat, shower, sleep, and work together without going crazy or seasick. So, how do the crew members on the U.S. destroyer, like the Arleigh Burke-class, eat together day by day? Inside a destroyer galley, life at sea on a destroyer revolves around routine, and mealtimes are no exception. On an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, meals are prepared in a ship's galley, a compact but well-equipped kitchen staffed by culinary specialists that have been trained to feed the crew within a ship. The galley uses limited refrigeration and freezer space, so food storage is carefully planned. Unfortunately, most of the fresh produce and dairy items on the destroyer are consumed in the first week pause, and in the next 3 weeks they have to depend on frozen and shelf-stable ingredients. It's not as bad as it seems, as the quality of food on a U.S. destroyer has gradually improved over the years because the Navy focused on training cooks and upgrading the galley equipment. They have cafeteria-style foods with a salad bar, juice, milk, or coffee bar, and options for breakfast like eggs to order. Still, resources at sea will always be more constrained than on land. Sailors gather in the mess deck, the ship's communicable dining area, to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because destroyers operate around the clock with rotating watch schedules, there are often multiple sittings for each meal so that those on duty can eat without affecting the operations. For late-night watchstanders, the galley also offers late-night meals known as mid-rats, which combine different leftovers and snacks so that those working at night won't go hungry. Although all the food comes from the same central galley, there's still a hierarchy in dining spaces. The enlisted sailors eat in the general mess. Chiefs have a separate chief's mess, and officers eat in the wardroom, which is a slightly more formal dining area with its own customs. Those in the wardroom pay for their meals through their pay allowances, while enlisted meals are provided as part of their service. Aboard a destroyer, mealtime is the best time to socialize, catch up with shipmates, and take a brief break from the fast-paced life on a destroyer. But can you feel comfortable taking a shower on a warship for 30 days straight? The reality of Navy showers. Life aboard a destroyer means living in a very confined environment, and one of the routines shaped by those cramped quarters is showering. Modern U.S. Navy destroyers produce fresh water from seawater using onboard distillation or reverse osmosis. But that means that water is always a limited resource that must focus on drinking, cooking, machinery, and other important uses. Because of this, sailors practice what they call a Navy shower, which is a highly efficient method designed to conserve water. In a Navy shower, the crew member will turn on the water to wet down, turn it off while applying soap and shampoo, and then turn it back on for a quick rinse before shutting it off again. A standard shower on a U.S. destroyer takes under 5 minutes, and water flow time is usually about 2 minutes. On a destroyer, the shower facilities are communal, and usually located near the berthing areas where sailors sleep and live. These facilities consist of multiple stalls that can be pretty busy, since sailors are on watch rotations around the clock and have to squeeze in time just to take a shower. But space and water are limited, and the crew assigns specific time slots and shower periods so that everyone gets a chance to bathe without overwhelming the system or consuming too much fresh water at once. In ships like Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, which accept mixed crews, There are separate shower areas or schedules for male and female sailors to maintain privacy and respect. They add privacy curtains and individual stalls to make the experience more comfortable despite the tight space. The showers are definitely not like the long, hot showers you might take at home, but they still keep the crew clean and healthy while on their mission. But it's not only about taking a shower. Just imagine how tough it is for those on a U.S. destroyer to use the bathroom facilities. How Navy heads really work. On a modern U.S. Navy destroyer like an Arleigh Burke-class, everyday life includes using shipboard bathroom facilities called heads, where sailors relieve themselves and take care of personal hygiene. These heads are designed to serve the crew within the ship's tight space and conserve water. Destroyers have separate heads located near the berthing areas, typically with multiple toilets, sinks, and sometimes urinals grouped together for shared use. Male heads actually serve several toilets, showers, and sinks, while female heads are sized to accommodate the mixed crew. The spaces can be renovated if the number of men and women on board changes. Unlike the normal toilet you have at home, the heads are connected to a marine sanitation system that uses pumps and holding tanks to move and store waste until it can be processed or discharged properly at sea, based on the environmental regulations. Waste leaves the toilets through a specially engineered vacuum or low-flow flush system that conserves fresh water and moves waste into treatment lines. Sailors have to avoid flushing inappropriate items down the toilet. Destroyers are smaller and they have fewer heads than carriers, so the toilets have to be carefully used. But the crew sizes are limited, and everyone has to stick with the water schedules. So there are times when a head is busy or unavailable because of maintenance or repairs. Sailors have to wait their turns, adjust schedules, or use heads in other places on the ship until the facility is restored. Still, modern destroyers have heads with enclosed toilet cubicles and wash basins, allowing the crew to stay comfortable and clean. If you think this is pretty interesting, click that like and subscribe button. But you might not have guessed how tough it is for over 350 crew members to sleep on a modern destroyer. Shoulder-to-shoulder sleeping quarters. Life aboard an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer means living in exceptionally tight quarters. And nowhere is that more obvious than in the ship's berthing compartments, where the sailors sleep and rest between watchrooms. But these berths are more like oversized dorm rooms, with hardly any space or privacy. These quarters are tucked into the lower decks of the ship, designed to fit a large crew into the limited space available below decks. The typical destroyer crew of about 300 sailors is assigned to different berthing areas, and the racks, which is the Navy term for bunks, emphasis, are stacked 3 high to maximize space. In between the rows of bunks, there is a narrow aisle. Each rack provides just enough room for a mattress and bedding, and sailors have small lockers or storage spaces nearby for their uniforms and personal items. The result is more of a dormitory packed with bunks, where privacy is minimal and personal space is scarce. Because space is at such a premium, berthing arrangements are organized carefully. Junior enlisted personnel typically share large, communal areas with many of their shipmates, while the senior enlisted may be placed in slightly larger or less crowded sections. As for the officers, they get small staterooms, which offer much better personal space, and depending on the rank, they can share the room with one or a few other officers rather than an entire division. Sailors often make their rack their own, adding small personal touches like photos. But it's not easy because the racks are packed shoulder to shoulder. The destroyers operate around the clock with rotating watch schedules, so there are always people in the berthing area. Some crew members might be sleeping while others are on duty, allowing them to enjoy quietness and rest between shifts. Shipboard routine and work. In the midst of all of these, life on a U.S. Navy destroyer like an Arleigh Burke-class never stops. The ship must operate continuously 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether at sea or in port. To make that possible, the crew is divided into watches or rotating shifts, so all the essential duties like navigation, engineering monitoring, combat system oversight, and lookout posts are always staffed. With the system, as one group of sailors finishes a shift, another one will take over without any interruption. This allows the ship to remain safe and ready for anything that comes its way. Typical watch rotations are different based on their command and operational tempo, but many sailors find themselves standing for hours, followed by a few hours of off-duty time for meals, rest, and other tasks. When not on watch, sailors are busy with the routine work that keeps the destroyer functioning. That includes equipment inspections, preventive maintenance, cleaning stations, and drills such as fire response, flooding control, or emergency procedures. These drills happen a lot of times because readiness for damage or combat is important. All the crew members also take care of cleaning and maintenance by preventing corrosion caused by the harsh maritime environment. Along with the watches and maintenance, the rhythm of life at sea includes scheduled meals, briefings, and training evolutions. The ship's leadership issues a plan of the day that outlines what everyone will do for the day. But it's not easy to eat, sleep, and shower on a massive destroyer with 300 other sailors, and many crew members find themselves facing challenges. The hidden struggles at sea. Living on a U.S. Navy destroyer is demanding, and sailors face different challenges that shape every day at sea. The destroyer operates around the clock, and crew members are assigned to rotating watch schedules that ensure navigation, engineering systems, weapons, and safety stations are always staffed. These watches often stretch for several hours at a time and come with maintenance, drills, and unexpected operational tasks that make the workday much longer than the standard 8 hours. The constant cycle of watches and duties means that the sailors don't actually sleep for as long as 8 hours per night, as they are expected to do. Even if they're not standing watch, they have to go through maintenance and safety training, eat, and connect with other sailors. But we can't forget the motion of the ship itself. Destroyers are constantly moving on the open ocean, pitching and rolling with winds and waves. Even routine activities like eating, walking through passageways, or trying to rest in a bunk become harder in rough seas. Sailors have to maintain balance and adapt to changing sea states. But the U.S. Navy is also working on itself, increasing habitability and crew comfort in its destroyers. Upgrades in habitability and crew comfort. Although the primary mission of an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer is combat readiness, there have been different upgrades and habitability programs that make life at sea less taxing for sailors. One way is with the Shipboard Habitability Improvement Program, as the older destroyers are scheduled for extensive renovations that update living spaces and sanitary areas, especially for female sailors, replace worn furniture and fixtures, and improve lighting and ventilation in berthing compartments. Different ship types under the U.S. Navy, including the destroyers, are being upgraded with increased headroom on the bunks, in-rack fans, and pull-out laptop shelves. Sailors aboard the modern destroyers, especially newer models like the Flight 3 Arleigh Burke-class, have better climate control systems. It's easy for destroyers to feel overheated because of all the equipment on board, so these ships are fitted with better air conditioning and cooling systems. These systems help keep internal temperatures stable in hot climates, and during strenuous operations, reducing heat-related strain on crew members and equipment. The Navy is also looking towards wardroom refits and customized lounge or entertainment cabinetry, such as the seating and media setups. Although there are different upgrades, life on board a destroyer isn't always easy, and you never know what might fail on board. Emergencies and breakdowns at sea. Life on a destroyer isn't only about eating, sleeping, showering, and doing simple tasks, but they never know when they might face system failures or major incidents that can disrupt daily life. One notable incident in 2017 was a collision involving the USS Fitzgerald. It massively disrupted life on board and for the entire crew. The Arleigh Burke-class destroyer struck a container ship off the coast of Japan, causing a large breach that flooded the berthing compartments and essential spaces, necessitating intensive damage control, evacuation from living spaces, and months of repairs before the ship could return to service. Destroyer crews can also experience serious engineering failures that affect operations and comfort. For example, the USS Zumwalt suffered a propulsion casualty as seawater intruded into its lubrication cooling system while transiting the Panama Canal in 2016. Forcing the ship to complete its passage with tug assistance and then pause for repairs. Without dramatic incidents, everyday ship systems constrain crew life. Sanitation and waste systems on the Navy ships require careful management, and space-limited holding tanks must store black water and gray water until they can be discharged in compliance with environmental regulations. Even with maintenance, the tanks can be too full or the pumps can fail, and that can stop the sailors from showering and doing laundry until it's fixed. There might also be limited food available towards the end of the 30-day patrol, leaving the sailors with food that has been frozen for up to a month. Despite all these challenges, a destroyer crew lives and works in close quarters, and they develop a sense of teamwork and mutual reliance like a family. When not working, sailors gather in common areas to watch TV, play games, exercise, or chat. This helps with morale and makes long deployments more comfortable. From tightly rationed freshwater showers to packed berthing compartments and non-stop watch rotations, life aboard an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer shows how discipline, engineering, and teamwork keep hundreds of sailors operating at sea for 30 days at a time. Every routine, system, and shared space plays a role in keeping the ship mission-ready. Do you think you could handle living and working on a destroyer for a full month? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. For more real looks at life in the U.S. Navy, subscribe and hit the bell. We'll see you in the next video.